Hello Dave is brought to you ad-free by my supporters on Patreon. Become a Patreon yourself and get your name listed as a supporter at the end of every video by following the link in the video description. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Hello Dave with Down to Earth Astronomy. It's time to have a look at what's been going on in Elite Dangerous and on the channel. First of all, of course, you will probably have noticed that a new engineer, Chloe, has been added into the game. Lore-wise, she has been studying with Professor Palin, and therefore she is pretty much just a copy-paste clone of Professor Palin. Same unlock requirements. Eventually, when she gets fully upgraded, she'll be able to do the same blueprints. So nothing really new. I mean, she's added out there in the Witchhead Nebula to kind of support the people out there. This could be like the first step to a second colonial in Witchhead, something a little bit closer to the bubble. But for now, at least, it seems that a lot of the Thargoid activities are happening out there. I must admit I was a little disappointed with the implementation of Chloe. I like them as new engineers, and the lore around it that she's been a student at one of the other engineers makes sense. But I would have liked if they would have added just like a tiny bit extra effort. I mean, another combination of blueprints or some new unlock requirements wouldn't have taken any significant time, I guess, to make, rather than just completely copy pasting from Professor Palin, adding a new name and a new picture, and then Bob's your uncle and you're done. I would have liked it if she's done like just a little bit to make her actually stand out as a separate engineer, where you have to go and do something different than just, well, exactly the same as you did with Palin. I mean, maybe she even could have been like a fourth level engineer, like the one that goes after, so you have to unlock Palin first, and then once he was unlocked, then he would then tell you, oh, by the way, one of my students has set up a base out in the Witchhead, you should go and talk to her as well. That would have made sense also lore-wise, and if they also gave it a little bit of flavor in terms of other unlock requirements, maybe some slightly different blueprints. But I guess in the beginning it makes sense that she only does the same blueprints as Palin, because she's been trained at Palin, so she naturally would be able to do the same as him. And maybe over time, maybe she would learn to upgrade more blueprints. I don't know, higher level, I don't know. At least she's there, and well, unless you're planning to move into the Witchhead and fly around out there a lot, and you're planning to build ships out there as well, which is going to be difficult, but you could. Unless you're planning to do that, then she's not really useful, because I mean, the two blueprints she does is engines and frameshift drives, right? So you could argue, oh well, you could get a second pin. Well, she only does engines, no, sorry, a frameshift drive to grade 3. So you probably don't want to, well, pin anything there, because you want to pin something that does grade 5, right? So that pretty much just leaves the engines, and you already have Palin where you can pin your clean drive, also dirty drives. What you could do now is you go out and pin your clean drive out with her. You would have access to both of those blueprints in the remote workshop. Now, it's very rare that people use clean drives, at least in the builds that I do. I often always go dirty drives, but I guess that would give you access to that blueprint in case you need it, so you don't have to go and visit an engineer to do that, which wouldn't be too bad now that Palin is in the bubble. I mean, previously it would always be a pain to do your engines if you had to do special upgrades on it, because you have to fly to Maya. But now, when it's in the bubble, it's not so bad. But anyway, Chloe's out there, and I did a video on it last week. You can go and check it out if you're interested in unlocking her. The Enclave has been concluded, and with that has been added, actually something rather interesting, a new Bobblehead has been added into the Tech Broker. That's quite fun. It's like a Thargoid thing you can put on your like your dash that you can unlock with like just as you unlock any other thing. I believe it's the human Tech Broker that does it, and it's actually fun. I think have we seen unlockable like cosmetics? We might have. I'm actually not sure, but please correct me if I'm wrong. But I don't think we have. But I think it's a fun way to go to give people like a way to unlock cosmetics without actually buying them, or participating in specific events. I mean, we've seen cosmetics before where you would get them from participating in events. We often get a decal, or maybe you would get a paint job or something like that. But actually having them more permanently unlockable in the game is a really fun approach. And I would actually like if that was something that Frontier would do more of. I mean, if you look at other games like Sea of Thieves is the obvious comparison here, where the only thing you can unlock is cosmetics. There is no upgrades to weapons or ships or anything in that game. You get the only set of equipment there is. The only thing you change is the cosmetics, and it's still a hell of a lot of fun. But it could actually be fun if they would do something similar in Elite. Let's say, for instance, if there could be go and rescue like a certain number of passengers when burning stations were a thing. They're not that easy to come by anymore. But when there was a thing, let's say you rescued 5,000 passengers, and then suddenly you would get access to a like a rescue ship paint job, something like along those lines. Or after you have you've killed a certain number of Thargoids, you would get a special decal or something along those lines, kind of to show whether you've done something in the game. And it would also give people something else to do if they thought, oh, you know what, that blueprint right there, that could be really fun to go and get on my ship. But of course, if they did something along those lines, it would mean people would probably buy less blueprints in the store, and that seems to be pretty much the main source of income for Elite Dangerous, that is selling cosmetics or like blueprints, paint jobs is what I'm trying to say, sorry. Selling paint jobs in the shop store seems to be the main income for Elite. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see more of that when we get the next paid expansion. That they're gonna get more like unlockable cosmetics in the game. That would be pretty cool, I think. There's also been some rather significant changes to Galnet. Now, in the past, it would contain not only information about events in the game and when things were changing, Interstellar Initiative, community goals, those kind of things. But there have also been a lot of these like more fluff kind of articles that would just contain some lore that Frontier made up that didn't really affect the game in any way, but was just there for people to read, and if they wanted to like feel a little bit more immersed in the game, they could read that. Now, Frontier's going to stop doing those fluff articles, meaning that the articles on Galnet will now only be things that are more focused towards the things that actually are affect the players. So that could be like I said, events. It could be new ships, new modules, that kind of stuff. When that being added into the game, it's gonna make Galnet it's gonna. I feel like them distance it a little bit more from the game, but I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I mean, Galnet I've always seen Galnet a little cluttered to me. I mean, there was a lot of stuff in there, and actually figure out which had importance to me or not was always, well, we would scroll through a lot of articles and sit and read it and figure, oh, yeah, okay, that this is not anything that's necessarily important, because they are all written in the same style. I mean, even the articles about events and new ships are always written as if they were news from some in-game news agency, right? So like figuring out which articles are just the fluff ones and which are the more like actual have an effect of the game ones, was always a little difficult sometimes, at least on a glance. But I feel like that's going to be a little bit more. It's going to be easier, at least, to find those articles, obviously, because that's the only thing that'll be there, and I guess making Galnet slightly more useful, at least to me, at least easier to use for players and more relevant for people to use. So overall, I think it's okay. I mean, taking things away that some people enjoy is, of course, some people, of course, won't like that, obviously, but overall, I think it's okay. I mean, if they're using resources on keep coming up with new fluff articles, if those resources can be used elsewhere to improve the game, then that's okay with me. So, well, yeah, mixed feelings, but overall, I think it's okay, the update to Galnet. The last thing I want to quickly talk about is the live stream tomorrow, of course. Same time, same place as usual, 7 o'clock in-game time, streamed here on YouTube and over on Twitch. I am planning to continue on my alt. Last time we found a nebula that I wanted to head to and explore that a little bit more in detail. And I don't think I'm that far off, can't remember how far, but at least I'll be making my way towards it. I usually manage to do like 2,000-3,000 light years per live stream, meaning it's going to be a few months before I make it to Colonia at this pace. But anyway, we're going to continue towards the next waypoint on my little trip here. But anyway, that's going to happen tomorrow. I hope I'll see you there. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, give a like, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, I will see you guys in space.